And welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me here today. Today I'm going to be doing a dedicated video focusing only on Jones Road. And I don't think I have spoken very much about this brand, hardly at all. I think maybe one of the few times I've ever mentioned them is their What the Foundation. I spoke about them when I did my foundation declutter, but other than that, I don't really know as if I've ever mentioned them before. I only have 3 of their products. I have the What the Foundation, which I'm going to be talking about again today. I have 4 of their Miracle Balms. I have 4 of their minis, so I can talk to you about those 4 colors that I have. And then I have their face pencil, which is their concealer, but I think it sort of doubles as like a spot foundation as well. But before we dive into the video, I did want to make a comment on my hair because it might look a little bit different today. I hardly ever straighten my hair, blow it out straight, or use a flat iron, but last night I had a tennis match. Our club that we belong to is having a club tournament. And so I have been finding it really hard to get my hair completely back into a ponytail now that it is shorter, and especially when I let it air dry, which is what I typically do. So what I did yesterday is I blew it out straight, flat ironed it a little bit so that I could get my hair back into one ponytail, which was successful. And then of course I went to bed last night and then I just did not have time to do anything different with my hair. So this is basically what my hair looked like after I woke up this morning. And then also when I go to bed after playing a tennis match at night, I do not sleep very well because I'm always a little bit amped up. So I slept in a little bit this morning. And so I don't know if you guys can see it, but I have sleep marks from the pillow. So unfortunately my silk pillow did not do its job very well last night. So yeah, that's what we've got going on today. I did not have time to restyle my hair and I don't have time to have the pillow marks on my face go away. So we are just sitting down here, we're going with it, and we are going to start with the What the Foundation. But just to remind you all, in case you don't know, Jones Road was founded by Bobbi Brown, and her motto on her website is a clean slate for her products. There are no phthalates, petrolatum, no pegs, no cyclic silicones. I'm not exactly sure what a cyclic silicone is and how that is different from a regular silicone. If any of you can enlighten me, please do. They also adhere to the European Union guidelines in terms of eliminating harmful ingredients. In fact, they say they are even stricter than the European Union guidelines. So that's just a little quick overview of Jones Road and some of their ethos. So in terms of the What the Foundation, and you're gonna see I'm feeling like my hair is sticking to my face, and that is part of the issue with the Miracle Balm is it's quite Vaseline-like, so your hair kind of sticks to your face. But we'll go more into that when I get into the Miracle Balm. But if you see me continually moving my hair back, and it's because I have this feeling that my hair is sticking to my face. Back to the What the Foundation, I did talk about this in that declutter video. And so if you want an even more in-depth review of that and you really want to see it in action, do go check out that video. But let me just go ahead and tell you a little bit about this. This is a tinted moisture balm with light to medium coverage. And this is the color match for me. And I have beige, which is made for light to medium with neutral undertone skin. And it is a really nice match for me. And I actually did like the color match. Now, having this really close to my face, I can smell this foundation and I cannot stand the smell of this foundation. If I absolutely loved this foundation and it performed beautifully for me, I still would not be able to use this because the scent is so strong. And I originally thought that maybe it was lavender, but it is actually a combination of geranium oil and ginger root. And that makes total sense to me because I just cannot stand geranium on my face. There's just something about it. It is super tenacious. It is just way too strong for me. And I just don't like the scent of geranium in skincare on my face. So that alone makes this product a no-go for me. And then in terms of its performance, I'll just show you on my hand because honestly, I just really cannot tolerate putting this on my face. So I'll put it on my hand and you'll see, obviously it's very, very thick since it's a balm. And after I'm done just showing you what it looks like on my hand, I'll show you the cutaway from that declutter video so you can kind of see what it looks like on the inside of my arm. And even from here, just this hand being away from my nose, I can smell that geranium, and it's really, really strong. So as I'm rubbing it onto my skin, it does have a nice balmy texture. I mean, it looks nice on the skin, but what I noticed when I actually had it on my face, I felt like it tended to show off the texture of my skin. And that's what I noticed on the inside of my arm, and that's the cutaway that I'm gonna show you, is that it just seemed to highlight the texture of my skin. And I'm not really getting that so much here when I've got it on the back of my hand. I mean, it looks pretty. It's kind of got this nice like dewy sheen, which I don't necessarily think I want that much of a sheen on my face anyway. And I feel like it's also kind of fussy. Like you really have to fine tune, you know, exactly how much product you want on your face to get the exact amount of coverage without it being too dewy. It just seemed kind of fussy to me, and I could never really dial in the exact amount that was going to work for the coverage that I wanted, for the type of finish that I wanted. And then I have to keep saying this, the smell is just way too strong and I just can't handle it. So for no other reason, the smell is a deal breaker for me, even though it's a really nice color match. And I think if you could get it fine-tuned for the coverage that you like and the finish that you like, it could be a very nice product, because really the selling point of this product is that it's ultra moisturizing, and Bobbi Brown actually recommends that you skip your moisturizer before applying this product. But actually for me, I also see that as a little bit of a downside for this product, because I want to use my own moisturizer. I don't want to have to skip my moisturizer before applying my foundation or a tinted moisturizer. I really want to use, you know, my serum and then a moisturizer, because usually the moisturizer that I'm using has ingredients in it that I really love and I enjoy that step. So I actually don't really want to skip that step anyway. So I don't know, I think you kind of get the picture that the Jones Road What the Foundation was just not a hit for me. Ultimately, I'm just not a big fan of this finish, and I don't know if you can see it reflected here, but on the skin, it just feels very thick, a little bit too balmy for me, and just not what I want from a foundation. And especially when there are other foundations that I prefer so much more, like the Merit Stick Foundation or the Sunday Friday Skin Tint. I absolutely love both of those. I really enjoy using both of those. I have no qualms about either of them. So of course I'm going to want to use both of those so much more than the Jones Road What the Foundation. And also, as I am wiping this off from my hand, I've got a washcloth that has a little bit of water on it, you know, just in preparation for this video so that I can wipe things off of my skin. The scent is so tenacious. It's still there. I'm gonna need to wash my hands several times with soap and water to be able to get the scent off. And on my face, that is just something I am not going to want to have to deal with. So I won't belabor that point anymore. Let's go ahead and move on to the Miracle Balms. These were created to give you a wash of soft, focused moisture to perfect and enhance the skin. And I have 4 colors. So I have Flushed, and like I said, these are in minis. I can't remember if it was last Black Friday or the Black Friday before. Time is kind of a blur these days, but anyway, in a Black Friday sale, they had a deal where you could get 4 minis. So I wanted to go ahead and try them because I've been really curious about these. So I got Flushed, which is a cool pink with a subtle sheen. And I'll move in here a little bit. So this is Flushed, cool pink with a subtle sheen. And this is for all skin tones. And then there is Tawny, which is a reddish brown for medium to dark skin. But I felt like I would give this a try. And I do really like this one a lot. I think this one works just fine for my skin tone. Then there is Miami Beach, which is a warm peachy coral with subtle gold shimmer. And this is also for all skin tones. And then finally, Dusty Rose, which is a cool rosy pink for fair to medium. And I actually have Dusty Rose on the apples of my cheeks, and then I have Tawny up here high up on my cheekbones. So what I did today when I was getting ready for this video is I actually have the Merit foundation all over my skin, and then I applied the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick all over my face. I wanted to use a powder underneath this particular product because I felt like if I just had too much cream product on my face, then this wouldn't adhere very well. Because if I have too much cream product on my face, everything just gets a little bit too slippy slidey. So I wanted to have a powder to give these Flush Balms something to actually grip onto. So like I said, I have Dusty Rose on my cheeks, and what I'm gonna do is actually swatch these for you on my hand. So I prefer to take a little spatula and dig a little bit out, because I just don't really like digging my fingers in here. And these very much have a balmy texture, so it definitely feels very thick and kind of on the waxy side. So like I said, this is Dusty Rose, a cool rosy pink. And then you can see how I have this on my cheeks here today. And the one complaint, or not the one complaint, but one of the complaints I have about these products is there's not a lot of color payoffs, but you'll see that the pigment is truly just a wash of color. It's not very pigmented, and you'll see it kind of gives you almost like a sweaty sheen. I mean, you guys know that I like a dewy finish when it comes to blushes. You know, I like the kind of the sheen, the dewy sheen that the Merit Balms give, and that also that the Say gives. But these Miracle Balms take that to a whole other level. So when I was applying this makeup look this morning in the mirror in the bathroom, I kind of felt like I had that look like I had just exercised and that I had a very sweaty, sheeny look. And I think you can kind of see that happening right now. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, somebody might really, really enjoy that look, but it's a little bit too much for me. But anyway, let's move along with these swatches. So I think underneath Dusty Rose, I think I will do Flushed, because Flushed is the cool pink. So that's Flushed underneath. And Flushed definitely gives a little bit more pigmentation on the face, but I wouldn't say it's very dramatic. I mean, once you start spreading it out and blending it out, the pigment definitely starts to get lost. Because if you leave it thick like this on my palm where you can really see the color, then you're just gonna have like a thick layer of Vaseline on your skin, which doesn't feel great. Let me show you Miami Beach. And this is the Warm Peachy Coral with subtle gold shimmer. Now on my skin, Miami Beach is the most pigmented. Definitely showed up on my skin more so than either Flushed or Dusty Rose. But I would say, unfortunately, I did not find it very flattering on me at all. It was a little bit too on the red side, a little too orangey red. For me, I'm realizing as I'm exploring more warmer tones on my olive tone skin, I really am enjoying peaches, but it really needs to be like a true peach, something more along the lines of the Say peach. So a little bit more muted. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. A more muted peach looks much better on my skin rather than a really bright, vibrant, orangey, corally, red leaning peach. That just, for some reason, it just makes me look like I've run, you know, a couple miles or played a tennis match in the hot, hot sun. And what happens when I do that is my cheeks just get bright, bright red, and it's not a cute look. And so when I have a color like this on my cheeks, it just makes me look like that's what I've done. And I don't like that look on me. So unfortunately, Miami Beach is just not a great color for me. So this is one that's just gonna have to be given away to a friend, passed along. And then finally, I have Tawny, which is a reddish brown that they say is good for medium to dark skin. So I'll put that on the very bottom here. And this one I actually really do like. I think this one is really pretty. And I do have this on my upper cheekbones today. And before I add a little bit more of this, let's just recap. So up here is Dusty Rose, then we have Flushed, then we have Miami Beach, and then we have Tawny. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of Tawny from my hand and then just tap a little bit more on. So like I said, this is what I applied this morning. And let's talk about the scent. There is that geranium scent in these balms, and yeah, it just, unfortunately, it does get stuck in the hair, which I don't love that about this. We'll talk about it in a second. But anyway, I did my makeup with these this morning and have Tawny along the upper cheekbones. And then the Dusty Rose in the middle. Or I should say on the apples of my cheeks. All right, let me wipe this off. So as far as the colors go, like I mentioned, just a nice wash of color, very subtle. For some of you, this just might not be worth the expense because these are pretty expensive. So for me, it's kind of like you're paying for a very subtly infused, almost like a highlighter that's very thick, very dewy, very sheeny, kind of gives you like a sweaty type of look. I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but that's how I feel. And it kind of migrates pretty easily up under the eyes, and I don't really like that look. So what I did this morning is I took my XOXO powder, and I have Comfy. So this is the XOXO Cloud Set powder, and my color is Comfy. And then I just tapped a little bit under my eyes to kind of get rid of the overly dewy look, which I think did help quite a bit. So that's what I did this morning. And then on my lips, I actually did use the Dusty Rose. Let me make sure. Yeah, I did use the Dusty Rose on my lips. So what I did is I used the Mob Beauty, and this is $19.90. This is their lip pencil, and I did purchase this in the Credo sale. I'm not gonna reline my lips, but I just lined my lips with this. So this is Mob Beauty in $19.90. Really great color. And I think $19.90 is supposed to be a dupe of Max Spice, and everybody's going a little bit crazy for this one since it is a perfect dupe for it. And I can't remember if I actually ever had Max Spice, but regardless, this is a beautiful color. And then I put the Dusty Rose on top of this, and I think I like using this on my lips more so than on my cheeks, I have to say. I think this is a really pretty combination. So like I said, I have been enjoying the Miracle Balms more so on my lips than on my cheeks because, as I said, the thickness on my skin is just not super comfortable. These really just lay on the top of your skin. So let's get to the hair thing. If you just like turn, you say hey to somebody, you swing back, it's gonna stick. See, it's just sticking right there. It's sticking to my nose because I put it on my nose. And it's just, I just don't like that feeling. And I know other people have complained about that in regards to the Miracle Balm, that your hair just sticks to it. And I have to agree with that 100%. So for some people, it might not bother them. For me, it definitely bothers me. I don't like that feeling. Unless you've got your hair pulled back, like if you've got a pulled back hairstyle, then that's not gonna be an issue. So I would definitely keep that in mind for myself if I'm gonna have my hair pulled back and I feel like reaching for this Miracle Balm because I want this particular look. I want this kind of hyper sheeny look that's not like a disco ball. It's not a disco ball look. So it's not that type of a highlighter, but it definitely gives you sort of that like sweaty, sheeny look, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think it does look kind of nice. Like I'm not hating it, but it's not something that I want to have on the daily. It's not something that is going to be something that I reach for every single day. For whatever reason, I don't find them super easy to reach for. The Merit Flush Balms are easier for me to reach for. I like reaching for that Rhode Pocket Blush. The Say blushes are much easier for me to reach for. I just find them to be less fussy. If there's kind of like an extra step for me to take, like if I'm needing to grab for the spatula and then I need to put the spatula away, or I feel like I'm definitely gonna need to powder under my eyes. Those are just like extra steps that I don't wanna have to take if I'm running out the door. So this is definitely not going to be something that I'm using on a daily basis. But like I said, if there's a particular look that I want, especially if I'm pulling my hair back and I want that look, then this is something that I would reach for. And like I said, I do like using it on my lips. So I don't think I'm gonna be keeping all four. I think that I really do like Tawny. And I also think that Dusty Rose is a really unique color. I really like the mutedness of it, and I feel like it's translating nicely on my lips as well. So I think if I'm only gonna keep a couple of them, I do feel like Tawny and Dusty Rose are the hits for me in this collection that I have. I'm also realizing that I have not yet mentioned the face pencil. And like I said, they are calling this their concealer. They say it's a creamy yet dense concealer. I got shade 9, which is for light to medium skin tones with yellow undertones. Now, unfortunately, this has not been a big hit for me either. I cannot use this under my eyes. I don't find it to be creamy enough. I find it to be a little bit too thick and not blendable enough. There is no way that I'm going to reach for this over the Tower 28 Serum Concealer. And those two that I just mentioned have the doe foot applicator. But in terms of something that's like a stick foundation, I absolutely love the Clé de Peau concealer. I don't think I have any other type of concealer that's in a pencil, but in terms of delivery system, the stick delivery of the Clé de Peau would be the most similar thing that I have to this, and the Clé de Peau is just leaps and bounds better than this one. So this, I just find it kind of drags a little bit. It's just a little bit too thick. It doesn't blend very well. So I just cannot use this under my eyes. In fact, I just tried it again very recently, in preparation for this video, and I just don't like it. Now I will go ahead and show it to you on my hand, and you'll see that, it is relatively creamy. But you'll see here that as I'm trying to blend it, it just kind of tugs and it doesn't smooth out very easily. So I just don't like it, especially when it comes to the under eye where you are not going to want to be tugging on your skin. Now, when it comes to concealing on the face, if there is like a little spot of discoloration, like I've got a little bit here, let's say if I want to do a spot concealing, I might reach for this because it doesn't really move very well. So if I want to spot conceal, I might reach for this. But I did use this the other day when I wanted to spot conceal, and I noticed that within a couple of hours, it seemed to be gone. And I don't know if I just ruined my makeup doing this, but anyway, I don't really feel like this worked very well. I don't feel like it was very tenacious. I don't feel like it lasted very long. So this was a disappointment for me. Whereas if I do want to do some spot concealing with a stick, I will then reach for the Clé de Peau typically. And I feel like that has a much greater lasting power. So overall, I would say that the What the Foundation and the face pencil were big disappointments for me. But I do like the Miracle Balm for specific situations. Like I said, if you do want this type of really glowy, kind of a sweaty type of sheen, if you like that look, I think it would be something that you might want to look into, just knowing you are not going to be getting some amazing color payoff unless you do want to look into Miami Beach. I do think that is the one that is the most highly pigmented. Tawny is pretty pigmented, but even for me who has light to medium toned skin, and they are saying that Tawny is specifically for medium to dark skin, that kind of tells you something, that by their framework, Tawny is for medium to dark skin, but somebody like me who is light to medium, it works perfectly fine. And I actually don't think that it's looking super pigmented by any stretch of the imagination. So just know that these are supposed to be a wash of soft focus moisture, you know, take that for what you will. So anyway, that does it for the Jones Road products that I have. I would be very, very interested in what your all's experience has been with Jones Road. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Are there products that you have that you actually do love from Jones Road that I have not had experience with? I have heard that their mascara is really, really good, but I have not had the chance yet to try it. So I still am a little bit curious about their mascara, but not quite enough to go ahead and purchase it. But if it did cross my path, I would definitely give it a try. But anyway, that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please do give me a thumbs up. And if you have yet to subscribe, I would love it if you would do so. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.